Good afternoon, and welcome to the From Where We Are Earth Day special, and our last Monday episode of the semester. Stories of news and culture through the lens of USC and Southern California. I'm Evan Rodriguez, and we're coming to you live from Studio B in USC's Annenberg Media Center.
And I'm Aditya Tyag. It's Monday, April 22nd. On today's show, it's Earth Day. This is our greenest show yet, with stories on everything from celebrity carbon emissions, Trojans that are working to increase sustainability, and an unorthodox fashion show at Union Station. All that and more
from where we are. But first, here are today's headlines with Michaela Eidelberg.
Today, around 300 pro-Palestinian protesters were arrested at Yale University and charged with trespassing after a 3-day encampment. The protesters were in the Beinecke Plaza and blocking students from entering facilities. They refused to leave after multiple warnings from authorities. And over the weekend, the U.S. House of Representatives passed legislation that could lead to a nationwide ban on TikTok. If the Senate passes similar legislation and President Biden signs it, the Chinese-owned platform could be forced to find a new owner or be banned from the United States. The TikTok bill was added to a larger foreign aid package that included support for Ukraine and Israel. Court ended early today in the historic trial of former President Trump. One of the jurors had a health issue. Trump is accused of falsifying business records before the 2016 election. Today, the court heard opening statements and testimony from former National Enquirer publisher David Pecker. Prosecutors say Pecker was involved in the alleged scheme to hide claims from women who said they had affairs with Trump. After prohibiting 2024 valedictorian Usnissa Busum from speaking at commencement, USC has also canceled outside speakers in response to the major backlash. These speakers include film director John M. Chu and tennis legend Billie Jean King. Protests continued at USC this weekend at the LA Times Festival of Books. Both Saturday and Sunday, the campus was filled with chanting signs and flyers demanding "Let Usna Speak" and "Free Palestine." And those are some of the top stories in the news. From Annenberg Media, I'm Michaela Eidelberg.
This coming fall will be USC's football's first season in the Big Ten Conference, and with it comes longer travel times. Starting this year, they'll be flying across the country for their games, and so we took a look at the carbon emissions it takes to join the new conference. Ruben Flores has the story.
USC's move to the Big Ten has large implications for the university's 23 sports, the fans, and the student athletes alike. The new schedule means a lot more flying to cities a lot farther away than USC teams have ever had to deal with before. This coming year, the football team will play at least 3 games around 2,000 miles away. USC has previously chartered planes for its bigger teams, like football, but there could be a lot more charters now, says a travel agent who handles USC Athletics flights, Kelly Gray.
Because of the Big Ten move, if that's going to be something that's probably going to happen more with other teams, I think possibly.
Gray's been working on providing USC with a list of options for the fall's many cross-country flights, including the possibility of charters. Charters are more flexible, and student athletes need to work around busy and rigid schedules. But this often means putting it in the air and spewing out carbon from a plane that otherwise wouldn't need to be flying. Institutions can try to compensate for the privileged use of private travel. For example, they can pay for carbon offset fees. But Gray says in her dealings with USC,
nobody has brought it up to me. If they have to somebody else, I don't know. I know certain airlines, like when you just go book a published ticket yourself, like online at united.com, they'll allow you to check this box, pay a certain fee to offset emissions or something like that. What that means, I have no idea. But nobody has said anything about it.
USC football's debut in the Big Ten is months away. What Gray's working on at the moment are the official recruitment visits for prospective Trojan athletes. She is their first point of contact for travel. She plans everything from getting them to LA to touring the city and then getting them back home. The athletics department spends a lot on these visits, and they too come with layers of carbon cost.
We have official visits coming pretty much for football every weekend in April, every weekend in May, and every weekend in June, and it starts up again in September. I'll generally book like 20 premium SUVs for the football department, and they'll be taking the kids all over.
Premium SUVs aren't exactly the most energy efficient cars on the road.
I mean, it's a certain look, they're not going to put them in like a Toyota Corolla sedan. It's just the way they've done it. And I've only been here again, like almost 2 years. And so Annie's got her whole program and it's very effective, so she knows what she's doing.
Annie is Annie Hansen. Head coach Lincoln Riley brought her, his colleague, here to USC when he signed on. Part of Riley's contract is 24/7 access to a private jet. USC is famous, or some would say infamous, for its football funding. The Big Ten's coverage deal with CBS, Fox, and NBC will likely put even more advertisers' money into the pockets of the athletic department. They've already taken great steps to make the university and the Coliseum more sustainable. Here's just hoping that the Trojans in the Big Ten have great success on the field and in continuing to go green. For Annenberg Media, I'm Ruben Flores.
I love nature so dang much. All the animals and plants and such.
While many students are only focused on cramming for finals and turning in any missing assignments as the semester comes to a close, others are taking steps to ensure that future generations have a green planet to inherit. Malcolm Caminero has the story.
These are compost tumblers. You can see things like eggshells in there. So we'll put things inside and we'll close that and then we can rotate it.
Wherever you go on campus, there are a multitude of trash bins, all separated into categories in order to be more friendly to the environment. As USC continues to celebrate Earth Day, we looked at how sustainable Trojans really are. Freshman Joy Wong has a few ways she's able to practice sustainability.
Well, I guess I use like my reusable water bottle for drinking water, and I try to be mindful of like when I'm like throwing away like trash and stuff, like to like which one goes to like recycling, compost, or like landfill.
Fellow freshman Egan Wakole chooses to change her diet in order to be more in tune with the earth.
I try to like recycle when I can and use a metal water bottle. I'm also currently vegan. You know, for the environment, we up.
Other students, like Sandy Cole, feel like we can do more.
I don't really see that many people being more sustainable, and I don't even think I'm doing that good of a job of being more sustainable. It helps when like the campus like makes like metal bottles instead of like plastic ones and stuff. I think that's cool.
The SC Garden Club is composed of a group of students all with one goal: to maintain the Parkside Garden. Oddly enough, this club is the only student-run green space on campus. While gardening takes up a huge portion of the club, they also host events, and the garden itself is always open for compostable drop-offs. A good rule of thumb is you can compost anything that was once living or is alive. Andrew Bowick, an environmental studies student and current vice president of the SC Garden Club, shared that the community welcomed them with open arms when they joined as a freshman. And with the club, they've gained a better relationship with the earth.
My time in Garden Club has really helped me connect with nature more, which is something that is greatly lacking in a lot of modern society. People view nature either as a commodity or as something foreign that they get to visit, but having a garden space where you are tending to the plants and you are tending to the creatures here really helps you form that relationship between yourself and your place in nature.
The president of the SC Garden Club is Esther John. She shared how it's important to think about the environment even though we live in a city.
I think Earth Day is like a great thing to celebrate because it is just like recognizing that we do need to like care about our earth, and also that like even when we live in the city, like there's greenery that we do need to care about and that we rely on even if we don't see it as much. And I think that the garden is a great place to just explore that in our campus.
Ellen Dukes, the Associate Director of the Office of Sustainability, discussed how USC has nearly doubled their reduction of greenhouse gases on campus over the last few years.
We just finished our greenhouse gas assessment for this past year, and we are now coming in at around 45% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions, and that's all from a baseline of 2014. So significant change, significant ramp up. What you're seeing is not just that we are going directionally in the right way, but we're getting there faster.
If there's any day to be kinder to our earth, take advantage of today. And don't forget to water your plants and separate your trash correctly. For Annenberg Media, I'm Malcolm Caminero.
Wondering how else you can help the planet on this year's Earth Day? The answer could have to do with how much you support your favorite celebrities. Sophie Ignon has the story.
One of the rising contributors to climate change is the growth and use of private jets by high-profile celebrities. As fans see their favorite artists perform in cities across the world, concerns have been raised about the carbon footprint they leave behind. According to My Climate Carbon Tracker, Travis Scott had the most private jet carbon emissions in 2023, amounting to over 13 million pounds of carbon emissions. This is roughly equivalent to the carbon footprint of over 1,600 people. The Houston rapper and producer recently visited LSU, the University of Texas at Austin, and USC in the span of 24 hours to promote his clothing brand with the help of his private jet. Sophomore urban studies and planning major Joaquin Torres says travel regulations should be implemented to reduce the amount of private travel, thereby decreasing celebrities' carbon footprints.
I just don't think the private jet stuff, like back and forth, is all that's safe for the environment. I think we need to take care of it. I think like artists like Taylor Swift and all them going place to place in like the span of within 24 hours is pretty bad for our environment. There should be a new law or something like that controls airtime for like rappers, like maybe 1 flight, 2 flights max within 24 hours, or maybe you got flight hours within a week.
Taylor Swift most recently made headlines for the size of her carbon footprint after using a private jet to go back and forth from her worldwide tour and boyfriend Travis Kelce's football games. Swift's case is just one example of celebrities using private jets for the sake of their own convenience with a disregard for their own carbon footprint. Second-year journalism student Mackay Singleton has come to expect the constant use of private jets from those who can afford it.
People are getting too used to that private jet life, and the more people that get money, the more people that are going to be willing to want to see what it's like.
Communications senior Nia Mitchell believes that there should be greater scrutiny focused towards artists who excessively pollute the environment rather than to fans who buy their merchandise.
Yes, I agree somewhat that there's some sort of correlation, but they have to make those decisions on their own. That ultimate decision whether or not they're going to get a private jet, they could do something different with the money that I helped them make.
Whether or not you think fans should be more conscious of what they're spending their money on, the frequent private air travel by big celebrities has an impact on the environment and merchandise sales that ultimately fuels not only their planes, but also intense bouts of climate change. For Annenberg Media, I'm Sophie Ignan.
Within the spacious hall in Union Station, fashion models strutted down the long hallway today where commuters typically run to catch their trains. Some models are in denim and vintage, and others are wrapped in plastic. What kind of fashion show is this? Lily Wong has the story.
LA's public transportation carrier Metrolink hosted its first sustainable fashion show today in honor of Earth Day. About 100 people took part in Union Station this morning. The show features sustainable fashion designed by Southern California high school and college students. They used recycled materials, giving a second life to otherwise unwanted items. In this show, creativity combined with the care for Earth and the passion for sustainability. All designs in this show had to be 100% post-consumer, post-industrial, recyclable materials. This puts the audience in awe of how creatively those young fashion designers could use those materials. Metrolink CEO Darren Kettle says the fashion show is a unique celebration of the joint effort everyone makes to leave the planet in the best possible condition for the next generation.
Please join me in recognizing the hard work and creative energy that our incredible talented student designers have invested to make this event possible. You'll be seeing them later this morning. Young people are emerging as a fearsome force in the fight to preserve our planet. The passionate and inspiring group you are about to see on this runway today represents the future of our region.
Cal State Long Beach student Paula Cruz-Bond has a friend in the show today. Cruz-Bond says she is amazed by the creativity that everyone takes on the same topic.
Everybody were given the same instructions, but all the outcomes are so completely different. And everybody's inspiration and their takes on what sustainability means to them is very diverse and very unique. Even though there's so many people that enter the competition, everything is so different.
USC game art student Kira Godoy uses her design to examine how fashion uses a precious resource, water. She says she is excited to see how many other people are putting the same effort into living sustainably.
I think just showing, the world that there are people who are willing to make this change, and again, reimagine the way that our future and our present are, and just the whole enthusiasm that goes with sustainability. And it's just so exciting,
A goal in sustainability should be pursued not only on Earth Day, but really every day. It is this kind of collective effort that combines metro, fashion, and all other industries that can together make our Earth better. For Annenberg Media, I am Lily Wang.
You know, Aditya, I feel like a lot of the time we think about environmental issues as some abstract concept that doesn't really affect us personally.
You're so right, Evan. I feel like I'm never hearing about people that are directly affected by climate issues, and it makes it hard for me to understand the specifics of like why these issues matter.
Good thing we're here with sophomore environmental studies major Natalie Lopez to talk about how people are impacted by the energy transition taking place here in Southern California. Natalie, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you guys?
We're doing pretty great on today's Earth Day. And we understand that you've been developing a podcast discussing lithium extraction in the Imperial Valley called Electric Futures. So talk to us a little bit about the podcast. What inspired you to start it?
Yeah, so first of all, the season 1 has already come out. Definitely go check it out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you hear podcasts. But I wasn't the one who started it. It was the former provost of USC, Charles Sukowski. He basically was very interested in lithium, specifically in the Imperial Valley and how it was affecting that community. And I am from the Imperial Valley, so I kind of came across them and thought it was very interesting the work they were doing and tried to get involved because it's a very personal project since I am from there. And like you said, sometimes environmental issues feel so far away, but this was something that was really close to home. So it made it just that more important.
And congratulations for being renewed for a second season, by the way. What topics do you hope to expand into and get to cover in the next set of episodes?
There's so many things to cover just in Southern California. I think for the next one, we're trying to look into microgrids in Riverside County. But there's just so many topics. That's a really hard question. I think there's a lot of environmental justice concerns related to it, but also a lot of excitement with the new technology that's coming up to ensure that we have renewable resources in the future.
And I mean, circling back to like the first season, could you just talk a little bit about what kinds of specific things you were able to achieve with those like first set of episodes in season 1?
Yeah, so basically the first series was focused on lithium in the Imperial Valley, which is a mineral that's used to charge electric cars primarily. That's why this big industry is growing. And with the podcast, it was really, really awesome to get to tell the story of a lot of different perspectives, the indigenous community, the Latino community there, the actual people working there. And I think we did a really good job kind of trying to get as many perspectives as we could. And now that, it's been a few months since it's been out, we've kind of seen the results of people being like, oh, like I feel like I really understood the science, which sometimes is very hard in climate science in general. And also comments where it's like, oh, like I didn't really know about this area. And, who would have thought that something so close would be impacting on such a great scale, but yet at the same time being in such a small area. So yeah, I feel like it's been, you start to see the impact over time, which has been really awesome.
And, you were talking about different communities that were being impacted. You specifically mentioned the Latino community. When we went on the website, we saw complete Spanish transcriptions for the episode online. Was this like an important thing that you felt like we need to have transcriptions available in Spanish for this specific podcast?
Yes. So something I didn't mention is the Imperial Valley is a border town to Mexicali, Mexico. So the majority of the community either commutes to the Imperial Valley or lives there, but primarily speaks Spanish. So even as a native Spanish speaker myself, I thought it was very important that my community, my family, and especially here in Southern California, that there's so many people that identify as Latine. It's very important that, they had that accessible to them, especially because it's something that's affecting them directly.
And outside of Electric Futures, you've been working on improving sustainability at the Coliseum. And what has that work kind of looked like, and what have you done for that?
Yeah, this is pretty recent. This started this semester with my Energy and Air class, 320B, within the Environmental Studies Department with Victoria Patrician. She basically built this relationship with the Coliseum where we're finding different ways to make it more sustainable. My group in particular focused on renewable energy, specifically solar panels. And it's a very complex, like, I feel like it's easy to say, oh, just, put a solar panel on top of it, but really finding the different intricacies, especially with a big university administration, figuring out who's going to get it and who's not. And also just, the financials of it. How are we going to afford it? Who's paying for them? It's been very interesting to kind of, specifically in our group, we were kind of trying to figure out whether direct solar or battery solar would be better. We're finding that battery solar is better. The project's not yet done. But yeah, it's just been very cool to kind of be in a class setting, but do something that's real and tangible, and that's going to actually be hopefully implemented in the Coliseum next school year.
It's a really insightful and well explained answer. Just thank you so much for being on the show today. We really appreciate you coming on.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
I've had fun.
That was sophomore environmental studies major Natalie Lopez here to talk about electric futures. If you enjoyed hearing us talk about it, please be sure to check out the full podcast series on the USC Annenberg Climate Center website.
You should make my earthquake. Oh, you make my earthquake. Riding around, don't be shaking me up.
And that's all we have time for on today's episode of From Where We Are. Gabby Medina, Nikki Barrelson, and Amy Lopez produced today's show. We had help from Emilia Garza Elizondo and DJ Herrera.
Grayson Solomon runs our soundboard, Sam Bittman manages our live stream, and Derek Renfro composed our theme music.
Catch us live on YouTube at Annenberg Radio News Monday through Thursday at 5 p.m. Subscribe to From Where We Are wherever you're listening from right now. And finally, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Annenberg Radio. I'm Aditya Tiag.
And I'm Evan Rodriguez. Thank you to everyone who has tuned in at any point in the semester. From all of us at Annenberg Radio, wherever you are, we hope you'll join us next semester for From Where We Are. So, last Monday show of the semester. Do you have any favorite memories or things that you really appreciated?
God, it's so hard for me to pinpoint one thing I really enjoyed, but I gotta say, just interviewing different people every week in these two-way formats has been a really empowering experience, because not only are we hearing about people from the community, we're able to speak to them directly. What about you?
Absolutely, and I've just really cherished throughout this entire experience, walking in every day, Monday afternoon, and seeing everyone working on their individual stories. It's just inspiring that radio is still such a strong medium.